And we're back to That Business Show. Jamie Meloni, where business becomes show business. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ. And you can also catch the live video stream over at TampaBayRadio.com. Also joined in studio this morning by my co-host, the lovely Stella Giudicelli, also a fellow real estate agent with Coldwell Banker. We both have been selling real estate for several years and do a great job at that. So if we can help you buying or selling real estate in the Tampa Bay region, you can learn more about that over at TampaBayRadio.com as well. Time to bring in my next guest for the program, expert contributor Brian Kornfeld, founder and CEO of Popcorn Apps. Learn more about him throughout the discussion, popcornapps.com. Be sure to put a K in popcorn. Brian, welcome back to the program today.
Morning, Jamie. Great to be back.
So Brian is an excellent designer of apps, and so if you got an idea out there, he is your resource for this. The sky is the limit on the marketplace for creating apps right now. So Brian, what's the next step that somebody out there needs to do when they've got an app idea in their mind right now?
The first thing that I'll tell somebody if they have an app idea in their mind is check out this small website, www.google.com, and make sure that their idea in an exact way is not fully taken up. However, if you do have an idea and there is some sort of competition, it doesn't mean you should stop. There's been plenty of major websites, apps that have pivoted off of an existing idea. If you think Facebook was not the first social network that was out there. There was many others at the time, Friendster, MySpace, a couple others that went by the wayside because they did it better. So try to think of how you could do it better, how you can improve upon the current business that's out there.
Do you think we need more social networks? Do you think there's an opportunity for more social networks?
I actually do. I think we're getting away from a lot of the centralized social networks, and we're going more towards specialized social networks. So you're seeing a lot more for one thing or another. And actually, the first social network that really started to break that mold was Twitter. And I know Twitter then turned into its own monstrosity, but Twitter just took one aspect of Facebook, which was the posting, and made it its own network. And then Instagram did the same thing, made it its own network with just pictures. So there's a whole lot of different options and different ways that you could set up social networks. Now a big thing is for recommendations. How do you get those different recommendations? And then the bigger sites, the Yelps and TripAdvisors of the world, are trying to bring it all together. There's ways, too, as an entrepreneur, someone coming up with a new idea who could make a lot of money doing that, because you can gear your app just to sell in a couple-year span, and you see you can read about the acquisitions going on in the world of the different apps and the different technology companies and see just how much money can be made there.
And you're talking about specialized networks. You created an app several years ago, the Rhino app, which was a social network designed to where you could get recommendations from just your peers, your people that you wanted to hear from, not just the general public, correct?
Exactly, and that's such a hot topic right now. There's actually a number of people who are trying to make very similar applications to that at this point. Trying to get recommendations. People are tired of going to a place like Yelp and not getting the best service that they can because they're getting all the recommendations from the general public, and they're getting boosted recommendations. They're not necessarily getting it directly from their friends who know them best, or their networks who know them best. So there's a lot of different applications that can help you in specific, and that's the joy of these social networks. And it's not just for something like restaurants or hotels. There's thousands of different ways that you can help each other out, and I might not have those ideas, but you might, and if you have those ideas, please contact us, and we're going to be happy to help you get it to market.
Now, you said even if somebody doesn't have an idea necessarily for an app, there's ways to still get involved and still, do some business with Popcorn Apps. What's some ways that people can still get involved with this?
Well, one of the ways is just we can help you connect, and what I mean by helping you connect is that some people might have an idea but not have the execution, and some people might have that execution, or some people might be marketers. Trying to get those groups together, and I think of it like its own little incubator where we could help get those groups together, and we could truly help them. If somebody has an idea, how can you then help build that into a business, and how then can you help get that growing? The other is where not every, but a lot of the different entrepreneurs I talk to, or different business owners I talk to, are looking for investors, and they're looking for people to help them get their app to market. And even though we do drastically slash costs compared to other app developers, there's still a cost behind it, and the investors then might have an opportunity to invest at an earlier stage, put in less money than they would have to. They don't have to put in the hundreds of thousands of dollars that they might have to at later stages. And they could truly get in on groundbreaking ideas, and we're happy to help connect those investors to the developers.
I don't know if you saw in the news yesterday, one of my past guests, Pat Bava, who designed the Pick My Kid app. He's been on the program a couple of times. Got $1 million investment in his app yesterday, and it was a simple idea. It was where a couple years ago he had went to the school to pick up his kid, and I don't have children, so I don't know how crazy it can be. But apparently the person put the wrong kid inside his car, and he's an Indian guy, and it was a white kid. It was like, come on, man, what are you doing here? This is obvious. This isn't my kid. And so he designed an app which would track the kids getting on and off the bus, in and out of the cars, and it made tracking your child out when they come out of the school possible. And he was on my program last year and again fairly recently, and now he's got this idea with $1 million behind it.
Yeah, and I've had the opportunity to meet Pat. Great guy. It's a great business. I used to have kids in a daycare, and it's something that would have been extremely helpful to get help, especially having twins, getting the kids out from inside the school to the car, making sure we have the right kids, making sure everybody is safe on a rainy day. In particular, getting that extra hand can be extremely helpful, and that business has grown. That business started with just an idea, and I highly encourage people, if you have a problem in your life and if you think technology can solve it, that's a great way to come up with an idea for a business. It's a great way to come up. Just take a problem and run with it.
Yeah, fairly simple idea. And I always tell people, when you're looking for ideas for business, start scripting out problems that you came across during the day, no matter how remote or how obvious or how common they may be, and then start to whittle them down to take that one problem and then break it down even more, sort of like an outline for a book, and then find that one idea. Who would ever thought taking kids from a school and tracking the kids in an app would take off like it did? And I've seen that so many times with other businesses. But yeah, just make a list of problems that you encounter throughout the day and see which one could be parlayed into an app. Let's talk about cost. Typical to think out there in the marketplace that an app can cost over 6 figures, but with Popcorn Apps you greatly reduce this cost.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. When I first was coming up with the idea, which was my pilot app, which was the Rhino app that we were talking about, I started talking to friends, people who have done this for a while, people who work out in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, people who work in other technology hub cities, and people in the local area. And they said, if you want to get a social network up and running, it's going to cost you about $125,000, $150,000. I don't have that type of money lounging around just to pilot out a bit different business. So I took my years of software manager experience, I took my years of process improvement experience, and I put pen to paper, and I figured out different ways to cut out the waste and lean out the fat, and discovered ways to completely reduce the cost to what I could say is in the 10 to 20% range of that initial cost, and really completely cutting out where everything was and just how much waste and how much extra goes into these that it's so unnecessary. And to get to market, we can now get to market different price ranges. It always matters based on the type of deal that's structured. It always matters based on the different scope and what bells and whistles that you want in your app. The prices definitely can range, but in the $10,000 to $25,000 range, we could easily get your app up, running, and live on the stores to market.
Yeah, and the sky's the limit for app ideas out there. And we were talking about just ideas for social networks. We were just telling about the story about Pick My Kid app. You've worked on a number of other apps out there. So just like Cheap Buzz, an app designed for college students to hear about deals at local bars, something that you've worked on in the past. Give us some other ideas and some of the other ideas that you've worked on, so people can see how easy these ideas are.
Yeah, so Cheap Buzz is a great one. It's growing rapidly, actually out in Las Vegas right now. So if anybody's listening through iHeartRadio and you're not in the Tampa Bay area, this business is not restricted to the Tampa Bay area at all. Out in Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, and Miami were the 3 main flagship cities for Cheap Buzz, and it's exactly like Jamie had said. College students try to look up where the local bars are that are having deals. It's a great way for bars to promote their deals in a very inexpensive manner. They could do it for free. They could do it at a small monthly cost. If they want to have a little bit more functionality, get higher listing. Another one that I always love, it's called Easy Menu, and it's a great function. It helps you pick your dietary restrictions and preferences, and you could pre-plan them into the app. And then when you go to a restaurant, it will tell you what you should order based on your restrictions, based on your preferences, We have a certified allergist on board who's helped us get a lot of these menus planned out. We have a very strong team behind it, and there's a lot going on through the major chain restaurants. So if you're at one of the major chain restaurants anywhere in the U.S., you could find that restaurant and help make life easier on you.
And we highlighted one of your clients fairly recently, the Examine app. What was that about?
The Examine app is an app to promote positivity, and I like to promote positivity a lot. I like to give back, and this is a way for people to create a nonprofit resume and to support a charity and to create a social network that's really surrounding positivity and surrounding prayer and surrounding your message each day, and making sure that you can look inward yourself and try to help others.
We highlighted an interesting app yesterday called the Mind PT app, and this has international reach. And it was about the power of positive thinking on creating new neural pathways inside the brain by watching a series of images and with some soft music in the background. And they have this whole production of videos that are created by content masters, and from things from weight loss to financial control to emotional well-being. I mean, it's a huge international business, and so they gave me a free subscription. I got one of the videos up, and it's literally you watch them at different speeds and just a series of pictures that flash on and off the screen that are then, and this has a lot of scientific research behind it on top of this, but the idea is that it trains the brain to think differently, and so you can change a behavior from eating or emotional well-being, things like that.
Is there a website or an app?
Mindpt.com. That was also the presentation that Kim Serafini gave yesterday. She's an international entrepreneur, but that was the program yesterday that we had here at iHeart, mindpt.com.
I think I'd be scared to know what's going on in your head on a daily basis, Jamie.
But it was just a simple idea. It had a lot of scientific research behind it, but the app, just a series of images that you watch, and you watch them at different speeds, and then as the mind then begins to absorb the information, you can watch it at a faster and faster speed. So the idea is you watch the images slowly at first, then you speed it up, and it's just a simple idea.
Was it her voice?
No, there was no voice. No, it was just music and images, and the images had certain text on it, and others were just people smiling, pictures of the countryside. It was interesting.
It's fascinating, and it's crazy to think of the different ideas and the different potential that's out there in the marketplace, and that no idea is really a bad idea anymore.
Yeah.
And there's so many different reasons people will have these ideas, and then they'll say, I don't really want to go forward with it, but we try to cut out those excuses, and we try to cut out the reasons for people to not go forward with their idea. We're all about helping people getting their idea to market. We'll find a way to help you get your app out to the store, get your idea out to the world, so that way you can make sure that you don't sit here 10 years from now saying, man, I really wish I would have done that. Somebody else is making $1 billion off of my idea. I should have done it. I live with that regret right now. I don't want anyone else to.
Yeah, and we'll share that story when we come back from the break, the idea that he had that he did not act upon. So that's why you got to act upon that idea that you're thinking about right now, and get in touch with Brian Kornfeld, founder and CEO of Popcorn Apps. Give him a call, 727-415-6705, 727-415-6705, or visit popcornapps.com for more information. Put a K in popcorn.